Okay, it's time to start. Hello, one more time. My name is Lev. I'm going to cover today webinar about the new generation of client applications for desktop, which we recently released, which are called TrueConf 8.0. It is a major release for our users, as we're going to switch the current generation of our applications with a new generation of applications. We're going to set up the webinar. It will take a couple of minutes. We will have an additional video, just a moment, an additional content stream to better show you the demonstration we have prepared for today's presentation. Oksana, could you please step up onto the podium? Oksana will help you with demonstrations. She will share her screen. So we will have today my computer, which is a Windows machine, and from Oksana's side, we will have a MacBook, which is ARM-based, using M1 CPU inside. And we also have an additional camera in front of me because I'd like to share my screen, and I also want for you to see me. That's why we'll have two screens of me. And we have a pretty large screen next to me, so I will be able to read your questions in real time. So this is our setup, and I will start to share my screen just a moment. No need to show you the slide deck anymore. And here we go. Okay, so let's start. This is our new application for Windows, for Mac, for various multiple versions of Linux distros. This new version is going to be with us for many years to come. Our previous generation of client applications, which are called TrueConf 7, which superseded the previous 6th generation of our client applications, lasted for almost 4 years. So it's time to be retired for the 7th version of our client apps. And we're going to ask our customers, we're going to ask you and our resellers to upgrade and to ask your users to update the client application as well and to start using the 8th version of our application. So you can see the application on my screen. Let us check the version number, which is 8.0. And this application is already available on our website. So you can go to TrueConf.com, select download, and you will be able to directly download this version of client application. This application is fully compatible only with the next version of our server, which is TrueConf Server 5.0. However, it is also back compatible, but with some features missing with previous version of TrueConf Server. So you can already start to use this application with TrueConf Server. We will check the echo in just a moment. Should be fine. Do you still hear an echo? Okay. Can you hear any issues with audio right now? Okay, it was from Oksana's side, so I have disabled her mic. Sorry, Oksana. Is it better now? Okay, thank you guys. Sorry for this. We have so many notifications. I'm going to hide them. Just a moment, I will hide all notifications. It's very nice. We have a lot of notification controls in this version, so here we are. No notifications. Okay, so this application is going to replace the 7th generation of our application. It is fully compatible with 5th version of our server, which is going to be released by end of this year. We expect it to be released in November, but it is already available for all our customers from our website under the beta, so you can download it and use it. but we do not recommend to replace production environment with the 5th generation file server. However, what we're going to show you today is also compatible with the previous version file server 4.7 and 4.5. So you can already ask your users to upgrade to the client application, and when the beta version of 5th version file server will be released, you will receive more functions without the need to upgrade the client application. The new application has a different approach inside. We decided to change the way how we develop client applications. We decided to put more focus on user, and instead of adding more features to the interface, we decided to hide more features, but bring features which were missing in the previous version and which are very essential for users upfront. In this version, it will be much easier for your users, for your customers to learn the way how to properly use this application, because all users need most typical actions are now available directly from the interface. They are not hidden anymore. And vice versa, features which were not quite popular, we decided to move them in the settings or put them somewhere not to disturb the user with additional functions they use not very often. We also added a lot of pop-ups with small tips on how to use the application. For example, if your user disable a mic, we will show him that the microphone is disabled. You can see on Oksana's side this tip that he needs to enable his microphone, for example. And there are many similar tips which help to resolve most questions people have without the need to go to the system administrator and ask help from him or from IT guy. So this version will help to save a lot of time of IT personnel on education of your users. The concept of this application totally changed. So if we will have a look on the previous generation, Oksana, could you please show the 7th version we have? Can you please open the version number 7? So just compare. Okay. So on one side of the screen, you can see the previous version, which is number 7, and on my screen, you can see the version number 8. So we decided to move all controls which switch between contact list, conference controls, call history, and other settings from different tabs which were located on the right side of the window to the left panel. So now all tabs, all settings are available on the left. So if I click on the menu, I can see the full list. When I collapse the menu, I can see not the full list, but the most common settings and panels we need for collaboration. Some settings are hidden because they varies from installation to installation. For example, some customers, when they have the global directory, when they have multiple servers attached to the single system, they, for example, have thousands of connections. They don't need to use the contacts in a regular way. So we also can add additional elements in the menu, but in general case, they're hidden. The first part of the menu is the contact list. It is still available, like in the previous version. However, all sections are now very easy to reach because they're located on the left top corner. So we just can throw our mouse to the left top corner. It is very easy movement, very easy move, and select the menu we'd like to use. Next to it, we have the conference tab, which now not only allows us to start ad hoc meeting, let's say meeting which starts immediately. It is also possible now to use the same tab to schedule a meeting, and the interface is right here. So I can click here, select a day I'd like a conference to be scheduled on, or I can access the meetings which are already scheduled for me. I can access my virtual rooms and templates I have for the meetings. So everything is located here. And if I have any meeting, I can see them immediately here. It is also nice to have in this tab a place where we can directly address any meeting if we know the conference ID of that meeting. Because in the previous version of our application, it was required to know the specific prefix, specific beginning of the string, which help us to distinguish regular users from conferences. So if you're if you're a powerful user and quite familiar with the way how things can be addressed in our system, you might remember that if we write \c ID, our system will treat it as a conference or virtual room address, and we can go there if it exists. And this is something very difficult to grasp by users. That's why we decided to add support in a conference tab to enter directly any ID user have for the meeting. So it could be direct meeting ID, it could be the full ID of the meeting with prefix, which help us to distinguish between users. It could be an address of a meeting. So if I go, for example, this is the address of the current webinar, I can also put it here, and our system will understand which meeting the user would like to have, would like to connect to. For example, if we enter here a link to the meeting, which are hosted on a remote server, not our local server, but some foreign server, we will take care of this automatically. We will disconnect this user from the local server, connect the application to the remote server, authenticate as a guest on the remote server using the name the user have on the local server, and connect him to the meeting. And once he hang up and disconnect from a call, we will return him back to his local server and authenticate under his login again. So a lot of magic happen inside. So users, they don't have to worry about how to connect to the remote meetings anymore. So they only need to have a link, and they can use conference IDs or link within the application. There is no need for them to open browser, to follow this link, to click on the buttons on a conference page. They can use links inside the applications. Also, we have here the list of templates, which were before available outside of the application. Now we can access templates. Sometimes it's useful, for example, if you have a meeting with a lot of people, let's say 80 or 150 people in your meeting, so it's quite difficult to change that meeting, for example, for another date, or adjust the list of participants and start it over again, because it will require a lot of manipulations to create it, put participants in it, create the layouts, etc. So it is useful to create templates for the meetings, which can be reused later. And here we can access those templates. Next step is for conversations. Conversations is going to be the main area in the application. We are going to move the conversation tab in the top. It will be the first section in the application, because the whole idea of the new version of our app is to allow you, and we advise you to try this, to use it as a messenger, because now we are able to create persistent group chats. That means we can create a group chat which exists outside of a call. So when you hang up and leave a call or conference, you are able to continue the conversation with people you had in this call, or you can create a separate group which is still available no matter you are in a call or outside of a call. It will be available for you all the time. So we can share files here, drag and drop images. We can do whatever we'd like to do, and everything will be accessed for all parties of that group. And we can change the group into the meeting in a couple of clicks. So it is very easy to do. Okay, so the next step is for call history. And in call history, before, in the previous version of our application, we listed all the conferences and all the calls. And sometimes when you call the same person many times, it could be filled with with the same strings, like you called John, you called John, you called John. Now we can collapse, and we only show you the history for unique participants, for unique peers you tried to reach, you spoke with. However, within each However, within each element of the history, you can see some basic statistics for that peer. What was the times you tried to call him, who participated in the meeting. So all additional tabs now are displayed on the right corner of the application. So you can understand that they are addressed to the element you have selected on the left. And we can recreate a conference here or make us an additional try to reach the person, for example. Everything happens here. It's very useful to use the history tab when you'd like to go back to the conference you was in before. For example, for some reason, you was busy, you decided to leave the meeting for a while, you can go to the history tab and return back to the meeting with a single click. It's quite easy to do. Okay, so that was the concept of the new UI. So we have the new tabs, which can be very easily switched with a very fast response time on the left, not on the bottom right corner, but on the left. Another big improvement is now we display differently the states of the application. There could be a state when you are in a call and a different state when you are not in a call. And the application behaves differently in a call and outside of the call. Before, it was the same app. But now, if I start a meeting, please pay attention how I'm going to do this. Because right now, it is possible to select multiple people from my contact list or even groups and immediately perform some group action across people I have selected in my address book. And those group actions are now available not only for contacts, they are also available for messages in a chat, they are available for participants in a call. So we can do many funny things using this tool because it's very essential for user. People love to select something, so we just pick, and then proceed to the call. Or we can create a group chat with those participants, or we create a group in a contact list with those participants. There are some things additional are available under the three buttons menu. So I'd like to create a conference. So that's very easy to do. All people I have selected in the contact list now populate the template for the meeting. All I need to do is to hit the start button. So now we are in a call, which is very easy to do. Oksana, I'm going to add you shortly, just wait a little bit. So the idea here is that before, for users, it was not very straightforward about how to create a multi-point conference. They need to call somebody first. They need to call someone from the address book to convert the call into the group call, into the group conference. Now we can select at once multiple participants straight from the address book, from the contact list, and start a call. And another improvement, it is now we provide all users with a button called Add Participants. This is a major improvement, but it was very easy to add. Before, when we'd like to add someone to the call, we need to go back to the contacts and call that participant. Okay, but now it is possible to add participants right from the conference state using this button. So when I hit the Add Participants button, I can see my contact list, or I can see the global directory. And from here, I can add any person I'd like to add. Okay, let's add 3 participants from this group to the call. That's how it works. So again, the idea of this improvement to place most common actions for users upfront in the UI to make them visible for users and to save time of the IT person. Another interesting thing here is please pay attention on how application looks like. For example, Oksana, could you please change the style of your application to the dark mode? So please have a look on those screens. You can change the layout, not on layout, you can change the the mode from light to the dark one, or it could be connected with the system there, and it will change the dark and light modes automatically. You can also change the background and some other settings of the application, so how it looks like. You can create a custom background image branded with your company name or branded according to the conference you have or project you are doing. We can also change spacing between windows. You can see from Oksana window how she is going to do this. There's more settings which were not available in the previous version of our application. Another improvement is the different states of the application. So please pay attention to this. I will go to the full screen for you. If I decide to continue my work in a group chat, because someone wrote me and I'd like to respond, I go there, select chats, and I don't see other participants, but I see the chat. However, the interface helped me to navigate. So he tells me that the conference where I'm a participant is still going on, and I can return there with a single click. So we have, like, in the same application, two different UIs. The first one is to control the meeting and to present in the meeting. And the second one is like a regular application, which is for primarily for messaging. And we also introduced the compact mode. It is a small window, you can see it here. It helps me to track what's going on in the meeting. So if I ask Oksana to enable her mic just for a moment, Oksana, could you please enable it? Not different application on demo server. So this small piece shows us the active participant of a call. So I can, for example, I will show you. So if I change my focus to another application, if I start to do other things, if I go to the messaging, to the charts, the application will transform itself into the compact mode, which will show me the currently active participant. Oksana, could you please enable your microphone here? Yeah. And say something. Okay. And here,
just a moment more. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I will check this. Active speaker. Okay. Otherwise, this small window can show us our self view, or we can hide it. So it could be minimized. But the idea is to allow a participant who changed his focus to another window application to continue to communicate with the persons who present the call. So we don't need to see the whole layout because all people will be small there, but we use voice activity detection to show only the person who speaks right now, and the size of the small window is enough to understand the emotions, to see the face of a participant, and we can go back to the conference with a single click. It's very easy to do. So we can switch our focus when we did our things and return back to the conference, and the compact mode disappears. So that's how it works. Another big improvement in the new version is that it is now possible to see the participant list of a call along with the chat. So for example, I can, as a participant, can hear for someone, I can see the desktop or content, and I can ask questions, not via audio, but using the chat, for example. and I can control the meeting. I can assign someone as a moderator. I can drop someone from a call. I can use and do those things simultaneously. Because before, in version number 7 of our applications, you need to decide either you can see the chat or you can see a conference tab, under where you can select the participants tab, which was quite difficult and required a lot of time to switch between participants and chat tabs. Now it is not needed anymore because we can see everything on a single screen, which is very useful. We can also now track conversations. For example, if I'd like to respond to someone's message in a global chat, I can double click the message and it will allow me to reply to the message I have double clicked before. So it is helpful when you try, because usually during large meetings there is a lot of messages. So when you respond to someone, it is useful to help him understand to which message your reply was made to. And now it is possible. Another improvement here for large, thank you, for large meetings is the thing we call, just a moment, multi-window mode. So just imagine you have a large important meeting in a large conference room, which is assisted with the help of a dedicated operator. And the large projection screen or LED screen or video wall is receiving the signal from your computer. And you don't want chat messages, participants management to be visible for the people in the room. So what you're going to do, you can enable multi-window mode and move all the participants to a second screen or third screen, because it is still possible to remove people from the layout to third or fourth screen, so we can create whatever layouts we want to. And on that remote window, no notifications, no UI will be displayed. So it will be totally dedicated for video and for content. While the main window could be used to control the meeting. We can see participants, we can see messages, we can go to advanced management tools of the current call. So we are not displaying this on the main screen. So participants in a large conference room, they're focused on the conversation, while operator can do what he wants to do to control the meeting. And all of this inside a single application. So we don't need to use the web interface or whatever. We just split the application into the two parts, conference part and the control part. If I close this window, we will go from the multi-window mode to the single window mode and can control the application from here like before. Another interesting thing is we try to put in many places a link to the current conference. For example, if we hit a very noticeable information button over here, you will see the link. So you can copy it or click and go to the browser. You can share this link. And if this conference is a public conference, your peers will be able to join. We also have a share conference button inside the application. Just a moment. Which can copy not only the link, but the description of this meeting. So I will show you if I go to the text editor. If that conference was a scheduled conference, we could provide more details here about how to join it from different systems. Another improvement is for votings. So if we go to the vote panel, here it is. We call this reactions. And for example, I put questions I'd like our participants to answer For example, how we're going to vote on these questions or on that matter. Please give me your opinion, and people start voting. We receive their votes, and we can see the votes in the participant list. Unfortunately, only me and Oksana are real people. All other participants are bots. That's why we have only 2 reactions. And now it was available before, nothing new here. We see the distribution, but what is a good thing here, we can share results. And if I copy the text from the vote, let's paste it to the chat. I can see how many people voted, how people voted. Every vote will have a name. And it is also possible, when we share the results, we can do this anonymously. So nobody will know how people voted and who voted for each answer. So that's not the very powerful voting system, but we're going to add more types of questions, like multiple choices, single choices questions. It will come later. The idea here for you is that we control the technology. Everything is written in C++, which is extremely fast. We can build this for x86 Intel-based CPUs. We can build this for ARM-based CPUs like Mac. For example, Oksana computers is a Mac with M1 CPU inside. And all of this stuff is working extremely fast. It's blazing fast because it's not browser-based. We are not relying on some libraries or third-party technologies. That's why we try to make native application as fast as we could. And we are going to add more functions. We don't have any limitations on functions. So feel free to express your ideas. You can use this chat. You can write us in any form, in any way. We collect all the feedback and we put your feedback into the production. So what we're showing you today is, in most cases, is a result of the feedback our customers provided to us. So most of the features, we are not invented them. That's what our customers asked us to do. And we're open for new features, and we ask you to use this because we're quite flexible to add new features and to implement the ideas you believe are important. Okay, let's return to the application. Another good thing here is it is now possible to better properly use the screen state you have. Please pay attention to the screen of Oksana. He decided to hide from the layout people who don't have a camera. For example, if I disable some videos from some participants, and I will disable my video as well. So they are still visible in my layout, but they are not visible in the layout on the other screen, on Oksana's screen, because it is now possible to collapse all people with disabled video into the small panel. You can see it on the right bottom corner of the video window. And it is also possible to see who is speaking from participants who are not presented in the layout because their video is disabled, but we're still able to see the circle which highlights the person who is calling. And this list of people without video can be extended or collapsed. In this way, we can save the real estate of your screen. We can pay your attention only to those participants who are visible, but we're able to hear everybody, of course. And I can do the same from my side, for example. If I go to the settings, the conference settings, and now we have the do not display non-video participants in the layout checkbox. So those participants will be hidden, and I will be able to see them in this small panel. Please also pay attention that it is now possible to have multiple notifications panel in the bottom right corner of the video window. It could be the votings, it could be hidden videos, or not, or list of participants who don't have a camera. There could be notifications as well. For example, if someone will request to get a podium, we'll see a notification here. And this part is very useful for moderators to control the meeting because it helps them to understand what's going on. As for notifications now, it is possible to, we don't have users. Okay, it is possible to access the list of all notifications. For example, before, if someone asked you to start a recording or get onto the podium and you missed that notification, it will receive no answer, and the person asked for a recording or to tell you something, they will not receive what they're asking for. But now, all the notifications are collected here and they are displayed here until you resolve them. So you can receive notification and request for podium, for recordings to join the meeting and address them when you will be ready to do that. And the person will be added to the call or get into the podium, or it will receive, start to receive a recording once you accept this. So it is useful for large meetings when we have a lot of people and a lot of requests. Another new thing here is for call statistics. So now we can see the meter, like the health status. These icons show us 3 bars. They go from red bar, a single red bar, to 3 green bars. And they tell us the connection quality between our client application and the server, and backwards from the server to the client application. It is helpful for IT personnel to better understand the reasons why some of the participants experience bad connection. This version, which we are using right now, has also additional log files. They could be hidden. I think we will hide them in the future release. They are useful for diagnostics. So we can copy to the clipboard all the diagnostic information and share that information with us. It's just a moment. That's how it works. So it creates snapshots of the current call, which can be useful to resolve the problems you might have in a call. Even system administrators and IT professionals can easily understand those basic logs which user can provide to them to understand the bit rates every participant received from a call, or what bit rate was sent to the server. We can troubleshoot some basic issues using this data. And this data is now accessible directly from the application, so we don't need to go to the log files and wait for administrator to access them. It can be done faster. Okay, do you have any questions so far? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's move to the next part. The most typical action during any call is to share the screen. So now it is possible to share the screen directly from any window. During a call, we have a dedicated button. And here we can select, like before, the application we would like to share or the screen we would like to share. I will show you based on the application I'm using right now during this call. Here it is. This is our production environment. This is the controls of the meeting we have right now. So when I capture my content, we also see this compact mode of the application. So it is now possible when you share your presentation or PowerPoint file or PDF file or browser, you can see yourself. But what is most importantly, it is also possible for you to see other participants, because we now do not capture this video window along with your content. We can capture them separately. So we can show here additional settings. For example, this additional tab to control the meeting. I can see here active speaker, the person who is speaking at the moment during the call. So even if I'm sharing my screen or the application, I'm still able to communicate with my peers and participants of the meeting. Another improvement here is, okay, I will show you in this way. I will change, not possible to show you, I will show from another application. Yes, please pay attention to the yellow border, which is displayed around any screen or application you are sharing. Now it is very easy for user to understand that his screen or his application is being captured. So we highlight the process of the capturing, and the idea here is to minimize the chances that the wrong content will be captured, because it is unfortunately a very common situation when the personal notifications or email notifications or calendar notifications pop up and being captured into the meeting. So now we can address this. So you can capture different applications, and even if user forget about the process of capturing was started, he can be easily reminded about that because of the frame we display around the content. So I will stop sharing the notepad here. Okay. And close it. Another new thing in the conference state is the list of unconnected participants. So when we start a call and someone is not available, we can see who is not available, who is not answering us. And we can try to re-invite those people. If we remove people from a call, they are moved to the unconnected list automatically. Just a moment. Sorry. If a person is being disconnected for some reason from a call, he will be visible in unconnected list, so we can invite him. If a person missed an invitation, he can be again being re-invited from the unconnected list. So it is very useful to try to reach people who are not answering for some reason. Another new feature is the group actions for over microphones and group actions over cameras. So now it is possible to mute everyone in a single click, or unmute everyone, or disable everyone's camera in a single click. Those settings are available from that menu on the main screen. You can see from my screen. Which is very useful when you start a large meeting. Immediately there will be people with microphones enabled, and instead of hearing all this noise, you can mute them all in a single click and ping breeze back to the conference. However, we advise you to use special role-based conference for those cases where we have all people under the different roles. Someone are presenters and some other participants are listeners. This role-based mode, I will show you just a moment. Okay. If I go to the conference tab, here we have a role-based conference. Role-based conference is very effective to control large meetings. For example, our webinar is a role-based conference where we have me, Oksana, and our moderator as speakers, and we are visible to all parties, while all other parties are just listeners. We also bring changes to this mode. Let's do it one more time. So I just started the role-based conference, and in this new version of our application, you can see that now the list of participants of the role-based conference are splitted and is labeled accordingly. So we have a speakers list and we have an attendees list. And if I'd like to invite anyone to the podium, I just send the invitation. and those participants are being invited. And you see that they are now speakers, not an attendees. This is our recommended way how to handle large meetings, and you will never have any issues with the enabled microphones because you control the way how people are being presented, who is on the podium and who is an attendee. Okay, next part. We have, I think, 10 minutes left. By the way, our webinar will be split in two parts. So today we are going to cover the changes which are available for users of the current versions of our server, the changes in the UI of the client application. Because we have only 1 hour for this webinar, it's not possible to fit all the changes into the single webinar. We decided to split it in two parts. So next week we will have the same time. Next week we will have the second part about TrueConf 8 version, where we're going to cover messaging and some other features which was not covered during this webinar. So please pay attention to this, and I hope you will be able to join our meeting, our webinar next week as well. Okay, so another new thing here is called real-time meeting management. It was available in the previous version as well, but now it is easily accessible, and we added more functions here. This mode is useful when we need to control large meetings. So we can also perform multiple actions here, but the best idea is that it is now possible to control devices of remote participants. So I can remotely, using this mode, change the camera of a party, change his microphone, not only mute or unmuted, I can change the actual devices which are connected to the participant's endpoint, be it a PC or mobile phone, doesn't matter. So based on the conference mode, we have here all buttons needed to control the roles. I can invite people to the podium or get rid of them from the podium. I can perform group actions. So if I select multiple people, now we have a special tab in the bottom which helps us to perform multiple actions. This UI is updated. It is not available in the previous version of our application. Now it is available. So we decided to make it even better. It is useful for large meetings where you have hundreds of participants. So today we have a pretty small meeting, but when you are doing large meeting, this thing is very useful because we can move these advanced meeting controls to a separate screen, and we can change the size of the window, and we can see everybody. We can search for participants easily. That's how it works. Very fast UI. And like before, we also have here a way to control the layouts. So I will show you it in a different way, just a moment. I'd like to create a very large conference. So I stop this conference. And once again, I will click people, all the groups, all participants. 27 is fine. Okay, let's stop the conference. Yeah, a lot of people here. So I will go to the full screen mode. We also upgraded the interface for layout management. In our applications, every user selects his layout on his own or she own. So I can select my own layout, making someone bigger, while other participants will still receive a personal layout from the server. So you can see that Oksana is receiving her own layout while I'm receiving my own layout from the server. And we can change this easily. Before, it was required to double click a person to change the layout from large view to the gallery. Now, it was very difficult for many users to understand this double click idea. So we decided to put an additional small button above inside the video window of every participant, so we can maximize by clicking on that button very easily. And otherwise, when we click again, the layout is returned back to the gallery view. Like before, we can control the layout. It could be a corner or it could be top layout. So it is up to you. And the new thing here, just pay attention. So if I'm in a full screen mode and if I don't move my mouse or touch a keyboard, the conference removes all UI elements. So it is very useful when you use your laptop in a room. So you connect the laptop to the TV in the room, you create a meeting, and you don't touch anything, and you are receiving the real remote presence experience. So very nice quality. Just to remind you, we can render and receive in multiple calls the quality up to 4K, 2160p lines, which is very high resolution because we receive multiple videos from the server for each participant. However, we don't see any controls here. And if we would like to see the controls, we can move the mouse, or we can pin the controls and fix them on the screen using this new checkbox. So now layout changed, and we will always be able to see the controls. I prefer this mode. I'd like to have a control over my microphone, for example. And there is other way we can use typical actions. We are now able not to click them, but we have shortcuts. So if I go to the settings, it is a dedicated section here which is called Hotkeys. It is not possible to change them at the moment, but we try to add most typical actions here, and some of them have a second key. For example, I can make an audio remark during RoleBased Conference using space button, or I can start screen sharing using a Control plus S, or I can disable my microphone muted by pressing a single button F5 or Control Shift A. So most users most probably will never use this, but for powerful users, the users who use TrueConf applications a lot, this could be a savior because it saves a lot of time. It brings more control for your meetings. You can do things faster, you save your time. So we advise you to learn those shortcuts and use the hotkeys. Okay, we have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to check my plan. Yeah, we're almost done for the first part. Almost done. Okay, so what we're going to do, I think everything is covered here, almost all things. Okay, this is very nice. So the last thing to show you, we added the support for privacy things like background blurring. So if I click here, the special checkbox in this video settings, my background will be not removed but blurred, so it will bring us more privacy. I will drop this call to show you in more details. Just a moment. So you can see that everything is blurred. It works very fast, so we do not require powerful CPU for this. We do not require any chroma key background or even background, so the background could be anything. We only use artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques to understand where my hands are, where my head are, if I'm wearing the headset or if I'm not wearing it, and it works very fast. The next things we're going to add is background change. So you will be able to change the background image. It is only available in the alpha version of our next version 8.2 or 8.1. I don't remember this application. So it will be available, the background change, in the future update. But right now we offer the background blurring thing. And more AI-based features are coming. So please pay attention to our updates and webinars. There will be more of them very soon. That's it. We are done with the first part of changes for TrueConf 8 application. I will show you how to obtain this application. We go to the TrueConf website. You click on the download, very easy, and here you are. We have TrueConf 8 for Windows. We also have TrueConf 8 for Mac, but you have to speak with us, and we will provide you with a distro version. It is also available for Linux. The released version for Mac OS and Linux will be available shortly, but currently the released version is available for Windows already. We also have the Server 5.0, which released most of the functions. The functions we are going to cover in the next part of this webinar is also available. You can download it. Here it is, very nice page. It will, if you go to that address, you will be able to read more things about the features we are going to release soon. Here it is. Do you have any questions? No questions so far. Okay. Bjorn, thank you for the question. When you capture the screen, we highlight it. You are not seeing this because I'm capturing my screen. So, however, when screen is being captured, it is also highlighted. So my laptop is highlighted in the 8 version of the application. So please pay attention to this. What we're going to change, I think we need to make this frame more visible, to make it a little bit thicker and brighter, maybe not yellow, but red, just to pay attention for the user that his screen is being captured. But it is highlighted already. Any other questions? Client apps are released on the website for all platforms, including Mac. As I said, the Windows version is released, while version for Mac and for Linux are coming. However, they are available. Please contact us. We will be happy to provide with you with the better versions of those applications. For you to better understand the idea is that we are using this application for more than 1 year already. Just imagine. So more than 1 year we're using this 8 version. And our largest customers, which significantly changed this application because of their valued feedback, are using this application for more than half a year already. So it is very mature. It is a very stable solution right now. And it's going to be available shortly for all platforms, as I said. It's almost done. Okay, any other questions? No questions. Okay, guys, thank you very much for this presentation. Thank you for your time. As I said, the next part will be covered in 1 week, the same time on Thursday, on 21st of October. The recording of the first part will be available for you shortly. We'll send the recording for all people who register. So if you have any questions or you'd like to try the new version, go to our website and speak to us or download it. It's up to you. Please be safe. I wish you a good health and have a nice day or evening. And thank you for your time once again. Hope to see you next week.